And so you do see that coming in, fish from China, fish from India, and so on and so forth. So there is still antibiotic use out there, but if you look at the Maine salmon industry, you look at Washington salmon industry, that's a thing of the past.
Well, vaccine is great when you have identified the virus and created a vaccine. It's a new mutation. It
Yeah.
isn't.
You know, 10 years ago, if I wanted a virus for one of my fish, I wanted to cut it. Let's say it gets a disease, and we want to vaccinate it before we release them. It would have been a $500,000 proposition. Now it's about $40,000 proposition for me to get a custom virus made to my bug, to my fish. It's no longer this big financial, big technical issue to kind of overcome. There are some bugs that viruses haven't worked very well. There's a disease called bacterial kidney disease we get in our sockeye that we're trying to rebuild, the endangered species. That doesn't respond very well to vaccines. We still have to use antibiotics with that, but it's kind of the special case, not the
What was the name of that disease again?
bacterial kidney disease. Renobacter salmonella is the scientific name. It's mostly a sockeye disease or IFO. It can get under some on it too.
I have a question on what's considered to be, you had an acronym, AKRD, I think.
AKART, all known, available, and reasonable treatment.
Yes. The question of reasonable, I was looking at, if we did go through the CUP criteria, one of the ones we were considering was there would be a county-approved consultant basically to monitor and approve what's going on. Who would determine whether or not the expenses involved in this county-approved consultant, and of course that would be paid for by the applicant, who would determine whether or not that there was a reasonable fee being charged, or that there was a reasonable degree of monitoring?
So the ACART, the way I use it, is determined it's in state regulation, and it refers to the issuance of our permits when an applicant desires to have an industry or any kind of permit to us, state waste discharge permit or national discharge permit. They go through the ACART reasonableness for our permit, and that is what kind of treatment to meet water quality limits or for determination of the effluent limits. So I don't think that the question you're asking me, either I can't answer it because it's a policy question. I'm just a lowly permit writer. I answered just in relating to my permit. So for you hiring a consultant or for the industry to hire a consultant and asking reasonable price, what's reasonable, I can't answer that with the initiative, the ACART. The ACART determines what treatment they need to meet our permit requirements.
So it's a policy decision. What person or entity would determine whether or not we were being unreasonably concerned or unreasonably cautious in hiring someone to oversee the project? Who makes that decision?
Yeah, have you come across anything like that? I imagine
I thought the reasonable voters did that.
I'm assuming, well, yeah, I guess there might be some level of, if we felt like that was going to be completely stifling, a use, then I think we would look at that. But I'm familiar with this enough to know whether or not we've had a precedent with this and not swaying in on the decision or not. So we can look into that, see if anybody knows an example where we've done something like that. Consultants are required to be used in certain situations to make an assessment of, the erosion risk of a property. So it's not unusual for a master program to require.
ACART is not part of SEPA though, is it? It's completely separate. It sounds like it'd be analogous to SEPA, where you just have to have an expert, and then you have to decide the decision maker, which would be the hearing examiner, and then ecology would make a decision based on the information provided. And then the under SEPA, I'm always saying this is analogous. Under SEPA, the question is whether or not the decision maker has been reasonably informed by the SEPA document. So it all ends up on a lot of words that have flood, have give and take. I'm not sure how you decide whether you just found the right expert, because that's always a question you always have. But I think these are very specialized people. There's probably not more, I can't imagine there's a lot of people offering this, offering that knowledge that they can write a report for you.
Well, that's one of my concerns, is that someone could say, well, we have our own expert, an in-house person, we trust this person highly. And then the county basically would have to rely upon the applicant. It might be preferable for the county to hire someone that the county believed was truly impartial. But then we would have to pay that person, or have that person pay through part of the application process.
Yeah, I'm understanding that now. And it does seem that you have that ability, especially if there is an EIS happening, then you would have the ability to recoup those costs.
We've had the applicant pay for EIS at times.
Right. And you can control them.
But I think you were talking also about conditional use permit conditions that would require that if a permit was issued, there would be a monitoring component to that as well. And
Yes.
we would want that to be sort of taken by the applicant and responsibility of the applicant.
And you'd be independent third party.
Third party, my understanding is that you would get the cost of that or whatever you would have. Our permit is very, expensive, there's a fee for it, but it's not just a piece of paper that says, go for it and do what you want. There is a lot of monitoring and reporting and underwater video shots. There are a lot of conditions associated with our permits that cost a lot of money to the permittee. It sounds like some of the questions you were asking are the same things we require also. The backbone of our program is based on self-monitoring. However, we do checks and double checks, but our budget, we have thousands of permittees. We can't be paying for all that money.
Right, and that's my concern is, I realize what's been happening to DOE's budget, everybody's budget, and yet the health of the waters of our county are dependent upon pretty close scrutiny. And perhaps we would, as great a job as you all do, we may want to have a higher level of scrutiny. And I think in some of the documents we've received from DOE have stated that the local jurisdictions may have a higher level of scrutiny. And that costs money, and obviously that's not going to come out of our general fund. So that would have to be tacked on. And I get a little bit concerned that DOE may come back and say, well, you guys are just charging too much. It's creating an undue burden on these applicants. Or maybe you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's not my,
You'd be in the
area
same.
to discuss. I don't have it.
I don't think we've done any kind of cost evaluation in the past on permit projects that have gone through from local governments and whether they're charging too much. That's not something we do. But I would think that you could write that into your conditions, that there is a monitoring component that the applicant pays for.
And that's something that would, as part of written into our SMP, is something that would be okay with ecology, it sounds like.
I would just note here that we had this as one of the objectives of this workshop today, is to look for ways to not be redundant, to duplicate effort. And so I think that would be something I think you want to look at is, are you asking, and maybe it's the same information, the applicant has to send ecology is part of it, core is part of it, and PR is part of the lease agreement, and anybody else that's got monitoring requirements, I don't know.
Well, I think, not to rely too much on the field of general human health, asking for second opinion is a pretty well established thing, and redundancy too. When you're speaking about safety, we certainly have redundancy in aircraft, or at least we hope we do, and sometimes enough redundancy in nuclear power plants, but sometimes not enough. And so certainly in the protection of the health of Puget Sound, we would want some redundancy. Now, I understand you don't want to have it wasted, but when does one make the personal decision, I want to pay for a second opinion before they have the operation?
Is anybody tracking, requiring now tracking from farm to table? So that, like the mad cow disease, you want to be able to find out where that came from, what feedlot, where did this start? Out here in Canada, that they're moving that way this summer to farm to table tracking, so that you can tell where something from part, that part